Welcome back to Those Are My Thoughts podcast, where we share our thoughts on popular fantasy reads. I'm Jillian.
And I'm Sarah. We are talking our TBR life updates. What should you read in the fall? And
What should we read in the fall?
What should we read in the fall? Tell us what to do. Just
This
book
is our cry
life
for help.
updates. Yeah. But last time we recorded, Jillian, you went into labor that night.
That night? I don't
Yeah.
remember that. Is that true? It was like,
It's true.
I was like, I'm leaving in a couple hours.
Your mom was in town. They were ready.
I have no memory of that being that day. That's really funny. Yeah, I had a baby.
You
He
had a
came out,
baby.
thank God. He's been an angel baby. I have 2 other kids who are 4 and 2, and they are loving Big Brother life, which has been awesome. So it's been good, but it's an exhausting season. Just a lot
Yeah.
going on in general. And so it's just, but I'm happy to be on maternity leave. I'm happy to be not working right now and just spending my time snuggling with my teeny baby. But he's not really that teeny. He's a big baby. He's a big,
Really?
tiny
In
baby.
photos, he looks
Yes.
teeny. Is he just really long?
Well, he's just gaining weight so fast. So like this is like a mom thing. So if you're not a mom, this might just be like not your thing. So you can skip ahead. So this is just an example of how much he's eating because I have large boys in general. Like my other 2 kids are both in like the 99th or 100th percentile for weight and height. Like they're just giant kids. Which makes sense because my husband and I are tall people and we're also not small people. We're not petite in any way. So, I mean, I'm not surprised, but every time I have a baby that does this, I'm like, dang, like every time. But he is like, so he was born 7 pounds, 13 ounces, and they lose a little bit of weight right after they're born just because they're like, whatever, they're like pooping it out and then not eating that much right away. So it's kind of like, they lose like half a pound or whatever kind of situation right after they're born. So we went to the doctor's office a few days after he was born to have him checked out by his pediatrician, and he was like 7 pounds 5 ounces. So he had lost like about a half pound. Then less than 2 weeks later, so like that was Tuesday, and the following Friday we had him weighed, and he was almost 9 pounds. He had gained almost 2 pounds, or like almost a pound and a half in like 1 week, basically a week and a half.
That's wild.
Which is crazy. And he, like, if you Google, like, because I was doing this, because I'm like, I feel like I'm feeding him so much, but he's like,
He's eating it. He's
starving.
happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's literally begging for food. He's like, and so I'm like feeding him just all the time. But like, if you Google, like, how many ounces in a bottle should you feed like a 1 or 2 week old? And it's like 1 to 2 ounces. This kid's chugging 4 to 5 ounce bottles already. Like, he is literally like chugging milk like it's his job, and he's not spitting it up, and he's like sleeping great. And so I'm like, okay, he's just giant. And then yesterday we went to a birthday party, and there was another little baby there who was born in May, and our little 2-week-old was as big as this 3-month-old. And I'm like,
that is wild. You're like, correct. Yes, this is my life.
my
These are my
babies don't
boys.
keep. They look like toddlers by the time they're like 6-month-old. I'm like, okay, this is not fair in life. Like, I just want to have a little baby too. And it lasts like a week.
Oh.
But he's like this big newborn with the, like, I don't know, newborns to me always have like old man face. You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about? They just like look
definitely.
like a little alien. They're like all the
Yeah.
time, and it's
Squished.
so yeah, little like, and they like roll their eyes in the back of their head always, and it's so funny. But he's a dream. He's great. He's starting to like fill out and look chunky, and it's crazy because it's been not even 3 weeks that he's been alive.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it all happened so fast.
I'm glad you're having a good newborn experience.
Yes.
It has ups and downs, I hear, but overall, it sounds like you're having.
It's been a very redemptive newborn season for sure. And like, we're only 3 weeks in, but I'm like, it's been, I don't know if it's just because I'm so much more experienced the third time around, or if it's just that he's an easy baby, but it could be a mixture of both. And in that way, like, I'm genuinely just enjoying my maternity leave, which is nice because we cried a lot through my other 2 maternity leaves. So
Yeah.
it's good to feel like I'm just like happy and excited, and we have a ton going on personally with our family and just some fun things down the line in
Yeah.
the next few months for us. And I'm like able to just feel the joy of the like craziness of this season and enjoy like not having to work and being with my boys and just snuggling with my baby and all the fun things that are coming up. So it's been
And
good, but
that's happening, like, going into fall season. That's gotta be the best. Snuggly
I
baby,
know
maternity leave.
a little bit cooler weather. I say a little bit. I
Yeah.
live in Tennessee, so it's like 79.
I'm no better in
Ooh.
Phoenix.
Yeah, no, I know. You're worse probably in different
So much
ways.
worse.
Yeah. You're worse in different ways, but at least you have the like we have the humidity, but thankfully the humidity has calmed down a lot already. So I'm like
That's
able to
good.
like hang outside with the baby and not feel like I'm like he's sweating as a 2-week-old. I can't have that happening. So anyway,
I run our social medias, and every fall post that I create, and I have some coming because September just started. I'm like, this is such a lie. Like, this is everything I want and wish and
I
desire
know.
and hope for. But this won't be my reality. I mean, ever in Arizona because we don't get fall leaves in the valley. But it won't be my reality until January, maybe. Like, it doesn't. No, we're gonna get like a week of cool weather, 2 weeks of cool weather, and then we're gonna have 100 degrees again. And
I live for fall. Fall is my favorite time of the year. Fall leading into Christmas, best time of the year. Best time
yes,
of the year. Everybody's favorite time of the year because it is like it's like the biggest changing of the seasons. I feel like from full decorations. I mean, I like decorate
yeah,
going into like spring and summer, but spring and summer look similar from a decoration standpoint in my house, and then but like fall and then Christmas and winter look so different than that. And there's like these dates that you kind of go like, okay, like now it's September 1st, I can decorate for fall. Where there's no other time of the year that it feels like that. I think why it's so great. But like I grew up in Michigan and like there were so many times that we would be wearing
yeah,
snow pants underneath our costumes in the fall.
yes,
And I'm like, I'm glad to be in a place where fall feels like it's like in the 60s. It's
yeah.
nice. It like feels like cooler than,
There's a
90, which it
there's
was.
a difference. There's a separation
Yeah.
between summer and fall.
We do get the leaves here. It's just
Yeah,
not as pretty as it is in like the Northeast
Michigan. Yeah,
or Michigan. So it's like they're not as vibrant, the like color changes, but it's still pretty and you do get the leaves. So it feels like fall still and there's like plenty of like pumpkin patches and stuff, but
oh, it's making me nostalgic. I'm excited. Okay,
too.
so maternity leave, you're 3 weeks in. Fall is starting. Have you been able to read? What's your reading life looking like? I know what we're reading.
I was gonna say, adjusting to how often I'm able to read. Also, those
Yeah.
first few weeks of maternity leave, you have family in and out of the house so much. So like there's some need to host a little bit so I can't
Mhm.
like just like seclude to my room and read all day, which is what I want to be doing. So now like we just got rid of family and like we're gonna be getting back into a
Lovingly.
regular routine. Not got rid of, but
Lovingly. Thank you. Goodbye.
no, seriously, I was like, let me get back to my normal life. I want to read. Like, see you later. So I'm able to kind of hopefully get into more reading, but I
Yeah,
finished a
no,
book and a
you've
half
you've been
since
reading.
I've been, yeah, we finished a
If
full
anybody
book and
if
a half.
anybody's on any of our social medias, actually, Instagram or TikTok, you like reading while laboring cracks me up. I love that photo so much.
It was really great. Like, okay, so if you've ever been in labor, you know this too, but I had an elective induction. So like I went in, my water wasn't broken yet, and had on Pitocin, which like Pitocin has like really intense contractions. So like, but not until your water breaks. And so before my water broke, like I was chilling. Like I was sitting there reading. I was like bouncing on a ball, but just like reading, having a good time. And then she broke my water, and then I like chucked that Kindle across the room. I was like, this is not happening.
Nope.
It's like we're done. I need a break. Cannot even stare at the screen. I'm gonna go cross-eyed. But yeah, no, it was. like, which is nice to like, I did not read like this in either of my other 2 pregnancies or maternity leaves, which like such a wasted time now that I know how much time I could have been reading. But
Yeah, because you weren't back into reading yet when you
no,
had your other
no,
kids.
I picked up Fourth Wing when my second baby was
How old?
7 months old,
Yeah.
6 months old.
Yeah, and I came into your life not far after, because he was still, like, toddler baby. He wasn't saying sentences or anything.
Oh, no, no, no. He was like, because when we started talking like that January, like he wasn't even 1 yet. Like he
No.
was a baby. So it would have been that summer, that summer we really got into it. And then the next fall, he would have been like a year and a half by the time we started like buddy reading.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah,
Crazy.
I know.
Okay, so we're in the middle of reading I think it's called The Artifacts of Uranus? How are you saying that?
Um,
By Nisha. Let's get her full name. Let's get all the details.
this is funny. Sometimes when you read on your Kindle, you don't even think about the names of the books.
Yeah. I didn't know it had a series name forever. Artifacts of Uranus series. It's a 4-book completed series by Nisha J. Tooley. And we're 2 books in. I've completed book 2. Jillian's on her way to finishing book 2. We're not
Yeah.
gonna get into that because Jillian and I haven't talked about them yet. I can't spoil anything for her, but I just need to say that, like, we're reading these books and we're
So
having a great
good.
time. We're having a great time.
Yes, vibes are high. Vibes are high.
I haven't said this to you, Jillian, but I'm getting a little nervous because, like, social media world
Mm-mm.
kind of helps give you a sense of, like, will this be great or will this not be great, or is there mixed opinions on it? And I don't hear many people talking about the end of this series. I hear a lot of people talk about the first book.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm wondering if we're not gonna love book 3 and 4. Like, is there gonna be a drop off like what happened with us with the other series? Am I gonna keep having a great time and not share the same opinion? I don't know.
I don't know, because you have heard from somebody
Yeah.
that has like gotten a tattoo for this series. They love it so much.
Oh, this is an Instagram book friend. Yeah.
Right. And I was like, okay, that
Changed
gives me
her
hope for the
life,
rest of this
loves it.
series.
Mhm.
Yes. But we've also run into other series before that have been told that they loved it, and we were like iffy about it. And then
Yeah.
also, like with Crescent City, it got a lot of hate. And then also, we were like, oh my God, it's amazing. So it's hard to
Yeah.
tell with social media what's going to vibe with you specifically or not. And it's like sometimes you find your comfort creators where you're like, we align on
Yes.
this or whatever. And so I think we're like sticking to people. Like sometimes if I see people review some books that I've already read and they're like, "Oh, hated this one," I'm like, "I don't know that we vibe because I love
And
that book."
I can't trust you.
Yeah, like now I'm like the rest of your recs to me are like iffy
Yeah.
because I'm like I loved that book. So I'm hopeful, especially because I really loved like the writing is really easy in this book. And I love the found family already that's been forming and things like that. I'm curious to see where the rest of the series go. There's a lot left on the table for me. I think we have 2 more books. Is it 4 books?
Yeah, it's 4.
So I'm hoping that the rest of the series is like just as good and kind of
Yeah,
wraps it
same.
up. So I'm hopeful, I will say, because the first 2 have been great.
Yeah, I agree. Having a great time. While you've been reading, so I finished book 2, and then I told you that I reread Six Scorched Roses by Carissa Broadbent. Which
Mm-hmm.
do I love that book more than you do? Or do you think it's
Yeah.
equal? Yeah. I
No,
feel
no,
like
no.
I'm
You
a
love
bit
it
more
more than me.
obsessed. Because
I
even
love that book, but you're like, it's my favorite book. I'm like,
I'm, like, frothing at the mouth for it. I don't know why. Even when we read it the first time, I was like,
yeah, you were like, that's the best book I've read in a really long time. I was like, okay, well,
you're like,
it was
"Sarah,
a
you just
two,
finished Throne of Glass. Like, what's wrong with you?"
it was 200 pages. Like, are you okay? But I think that's a testament to like how much character development that she does in such a short period of time. I do really think it's a great book. Yeah.
I You need to see my face on YouTube. I'm
Yeah.
just I love it so much. I don't know what compelled me. I think I was like, "Oh, I need a quick read." while Jillian figures out her reading pace right now in this new season of life, I'm gonna jump back into this. Sounds good. And I ripped through it in 2 days, which you could read that book in a day, so I read it a little bit slow, but if you haven't read Six Scorched Roses, it's a novella by Carissa Broadbent. You can read it on its own without reading anything else from her world, but it definitely goes along with Serpents and the Wings of Night and the Crowns of Nyaxia series that she wrote. But Six Scorched Roses, reading it with fall starting or September starting,
Hmm.
I was like, this is so perfect. Like, it's just a dark and moody world. It's raining a lot.
It
It's
is.
vampires.
It's
Uh,
vampires.
I loved it. I loved it so much. And thankfully for my brain, I forget everything I read. Give it 3 months and I'm like, what's the plot? I don't know. Even my favorites. Like there's things in Akatar that I'm probably like, I don't know. Not sure. So it honestly was like I kind of read it for the first time.
Yeah. I was thinking about this while you were talking about that series, like Serpent in the Wings of Night series, Crowns of Nyaxia series, which is I came across this video recently where somebody was talking about how they don't like gory things, but they don't have a problem reading these books because you don't see them or whatever. And they were like,
Yeah,
I'm scared for if any of these books get made into actual TV series. I don't think I'll like them because I don't want to see the gore. I don't mind reading about it, but I don't want to see it. And I feel like that series is like pretty gory because it's
vampire.
vampires.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's like naturally very bloody. And so
you're correct.
I remember being kind of shocked reading it, but it's also one of those things where like reading it is different than like literally seeing it. So I can digest it a lot easier than if I were to be seeing it
Yes.
on a screen. And I'm like, yeah, but it's perfect for the fall.
Perfect for the fall. I have an example that I didn't pick up the first time reading this novella, and the second time I was like, I'm just gonna choose to ignore that because it totally ruins the moment for me. But obviously, if you haven't read vampires, we've said this before, but Jillian and I think still have only read vampires in Carissa Broadbent's world. Have we read vampires from anybody else?
Well, besides Twilight.
Oh, and vampires show up in Quicksilver. And
That's true.
this does correlate there. Vampire world, there's like a sexual aspect towards feeding on each other, towards drinking blood, blah blah blah.
Hmm.
So in this novella, there's a scene. I'm trying not to give anything away, but there's a scene where she sees something sexual and the lights are really dark. You can't really tell. And there's a moment where the lights come on and she's like, wait, I didn't notice. And she essentially is saying, like, there's blood everywhere on people's bodies, on the sheets, on this and that. But it's not a gory scene, but absolutely,
Hmm.
if you were to see that on the screen, I would be like, "What the hell? Ew,
Yeah.
gross." But in the book, you can so easily just ignore that that's happening. I don't
Hmm.
know. I'm just like, "On to the next thing." I don't really wanna visualize that in my brain.
Yeah, but I am excited to read. Let's talk TBR because part
Okay.
of our TBR is the next book in this series.
Which, good lord, we need to conquer that.
We do just need to read it because number one, it's fall. We're going back into vampires. I love Misha and it's her story. So we need to like roll back into that a little bit, I think. But that's like an option for the next book we read after this series on our TBR.
So the name that you're talking about is The Fallen and the Kiss of Dust, which came out on
Yes.
August 5th by Carissa Broadbent, and it's book 2 in Misha and Asar's world, which is book 4 in the series, 4 out of 6.
Right. So if you haven't read this series, it took me a while to figure out the like how, and I think somebody had to explain it to me too. So if you haven't read it yet,
Yeah.
basically it's going to be
Break it
comprised
down,
of
Jillian.
three different duologies. So you're going to follow, like, there's three different kinds of vampires in this world, and you're going to follow all three in duologies. So, like, the first one is
House of Night. House of Night,
okay,
House of Shadows.
and House of Blood.
Okay. So these 3 different kind of
Yes.
kingdoms. It's almost like 3 different cities inside one kingdom.
Nightborn, Shadowborn, Bloodborn. Those are
There
the
we go.
three. I was like, why am I talking about this? Okay. The first one, Serpent in the Wings of Night and Ashes in the Star Cursed King, follow the Nightborn duology, which is an FMC and an MMC that like they're following throughout that. Now they're all intertwined because you're finding out about characters you're going to follow in the next duology as well. So you do have to go in order from Serpent and the Wings of Night through them. I mean, I guess you could read them separately as well, but not really, because there's things
No, you
that
need to go in order.
I don't think so. Yeah. Now the one-offs in between, because in the duologies, like there's one-offs in between, like little short
There's
stories
a
in
novella and
between.
there's a short story, or I don't know how you
Yes.
call that, standalone. A novella and a standalone.
Yes, that's true. That have characters that are going to come back into our story as well, but they technically could be read on their own as like standalones. You don't need to read them for the story, but I think it just helps, and she writes great stories, so just read them. I don't know. People who skip books, I'm like, why?
So
Why would
so
you
this
skip a book?
so novella, yeah, no, we share that sentiment completely. Six Scorched Roses is the novella, and the standalone is
Oh, Slaying the
Vampire
Vampire Conqueror?
Conqueror. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. So yeah, so book 4 came out, Fallen in the Kiss of Dust, and we need to read it. We like
Yeah,
Carissa Broadbent.
that's up. It's the second, so it'll finish Misha's story in that duology, and I think we really enjoyed the first one, so I'm excited to reread.
Did.
Excited to read that as well. And I've been seeing it like, every time I pass it in Target and stuff, and I'm like, oh, we need to read that. We need to read that. I keep
And
thinking about it.
surely it'll be great for fall. Vampire world, we know it's a dark and moody world.
Okay, do you want to talk about more fall related options as we're going through? Because there's
From
a
our TBR.
couple. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You brought up one before we started recording, which is Manacled. And I want to talk about this because this might be controversial. I don't know. You guys tell us. Like, obviously, this is a good book to read. People are like die hard for Manacled. I know that. The thing is, I love Harry Potter, but I have not read all of the books, which I would love to do one day. It's on my list of like to-dos, but we also have too long of a TBR to keep doing that. So I have read the first 2, and then I saw all the movies like as they came out, and we rewatched the movies every single year around the fall
Yeah.
time.
Time
And
is
so
coming.
I love them. I love Harry Potter. I just
Okay.
haven't deeply read every single book. But do I know enough, having watched all the movies religiously, to understand Manacled and like
Yeah.
really pick up on everything? Because surely, yes, because it's if I'm not mistaken, it's Hermione and Draco Malfoy as like a
Yeah.
fanfic, right?
Which, okay, I think I might be about to piss people off if you're in the fanfic world. I don't know. But if you've been listening to our podcast, you know that Jillian and I are like a year into our reading journey, like getting back into this world and then diving deep into romantasy. For me, truly, it's like a year into reading where Jillian's like re-entering the world. And there's so many corners of this book world that you can fall into. We are heavily in the corner of romantasy, but we've made some friends on social media who are like, their niche is only fanfic. And I did not know how deep that well went. I didn't know, I'm saying this to say, I didn't know how big the world was of Hermione and
Oh,
Draco being
oh.
together. Holy crap. This
Mm-hmm.
was a new awakening for me probably this year. And now I understand. And so, like, Manacled is one that gets high reviews, but there's so many that you could choose from different authors on the
Yeah.
same storyline.
I think it's a safe bet to start with Manacled, though, if we're going to
Yeah.
like dive into some kind of fanfic world, because it is so highly reviewed that it's kind of an easy choice to make, knowing that it's going to be great, and then kind of deciding like, is this something else we want to read down the line of other versions of this kind of situation?
Does fanfic just mean like a fan wrote a fiction book about a story that existed that they
Correct.
loved? Okay.
Yeah.
So Manacled, the question for anybody listening is, I've read all of Harry Potter books, and so I could tell Jillian, she knows, like there's so many more details in the books than in the movies. However,
Totally.
the people who have read Manacled, does she have
Tell
to
us.
complete
Do I
does she
have
need to
to?
complete Harry Potter, or can we just dive into Manacled? That's the question.
Because to me, it's like, how much intertwined with the other
Yeah.
story is it? Because it's kind of a completely different storyline. Like, that didn't happen in the other books. So, like, to me, I'm like, surely it's not the same storyline, so it might not even matter completely, although I'm sure there's plenty of like details that were in the regular series that are included into this series. It's just like how much of that is like, if you haven't read all the Harry Potter books, like you're screwed, you know?
Yeah.
Tell me, because I
Tell
need to know.
us. Okay, so Fallen in the Kiss of Death, Manacled. What's another one you would pick out for fall? I mean, I know what I would pick. We've been talking about it. It's just a lot of
Okay,
books.
right. So this is part of like what I was talking about at the beginning, where like I don't know why, but this series seems
It feels
really daunting to
daunting.
me.
I know, I know.
In the reason that we just DNF'd a series that felt daunting, and this seems to have similar sentiments online from the perspective of people
Really?
really love the first few books and then they really start to go downhill in the last few books. So it's like, do we want to dive into a 7-book series? And the series would be From Blood and Ash.
Yeah,
Do we want to dive into a 7-book series? And also, is it going to be disappointing in the end? Because that's what I've heard online. And again, I know we just said this, like, I don't want to pay attention to everything that's being said online because it doesn't always align with what Sarah and I think anyway. So
yeah.
I don't know.
I think I have friends. I don't know if you've had any friends tell you to read this, but I have friends who are like, read it, read it, read it. One in Ireland, one here in Phoenix, who absolutely adore it. So when I see that online, I see it as like the people who talk about ACOTAR as unreadable. And I'm like, how do we exist on the same planet? I don't understand you.
Yeah, or Throne of Glass, like, get over yourself.
Which I need to tell that story. We need to talk about that in 2 seconds. So, Blood and Ash, I feel very willing to dive in and try.
Okay.
I didn't love DNFing that series that we did, and it really did screw up my reading vibes. And we just now got back to a good place where I'm like, I'm having so much
I
fun
know.
again, and I'm not worried about
I
the next
know.
book I'm going to pick up. So I get it. But I do feel like if you look back on what we've finished after not having fun with that series, we've done so well reading like one-offs or duologies and having a good time. If we keep having a good time with this Artifacts of Verano series, I feel like it's safe enough to dive in. Now, here's the thing with your and I's reading pace, Blood and Ash probably will take up maybe 2 months of our life.
Right. True.
And that brings us really close to the end of the year. So I'm like, are we dedicating the rest of 2025 to this?
I keep pushing you off of it, so I don't want to keep doing that. Okay, for my
We'll
sake,
see.
I'm going to read the book description that's listed on
Please.
Goodreads
I've never heard
for the
it.
first
Ooh, I'm
book.
excited. Okay,
For
read
the
it to
first
me.
book only, because I want to see if this like really resonates from a like story perspective, if it feels like something different or really cool that we want
Okay.
to read. So I just pulled up the book description that's listed on Goodreads. So if you have Goodreads, this is the what's listed. A maiden chosen from birth to usher in a new era, Poppy's life has never been her own. The life of a maiden is solitary, never to be touched, never to be looked upon, never to be spoken to, and never to experience pleasure. Waiting for the day of her ascension, she would rather be with the guards, fighting back the evil that took her family, than preparing to be found worthy of the gods. But the choice has never been hers, a duty to the entire kingdom. The entire kingdom's future rests on Poppy's shoulders, something she's not even quite sure she wants for herself, because a maiden has a heart and a soul and a longing. And when Hawk, a golden-eyed guard, honor bound to ensure her ascension, enters her life, destiny and duty become tangled with desire and need. He incites her anger, makes her question everything she believes in, and tempts her with the forbidden. A kingdom forsaken by the gods and feared by mortals, a fallen kingdom is rising once more, determined to take back what they believe is theirs through violence and vengeance. And as the shadow of those cursed draws closer, the line between what is forbidden and what is right becomes blurred. Poppy is not only on the verge of her losing her heart and becoming found unworthy by the gods, but also her life when every blood-soaked thread that holds her world together begins to unravel.
I mean, it sounds classic.
I know, it sounds like every other book we've read, which I am like having a hard time being like, it's not new and exciting to me.
But what we're reading right now is not new and exciting. Trials of the Sun Queen is like every trope in every
It's exactly the
romantic
same
book.
trope. It's exactly the same
Identical.
trope.
So that doesn't matter, Jillian, because you have a good time regardless.
I guess so it comes down to if we like the writing or not, which is really what
Yeah.
it came down to. The book we DNF'd. We just didn't really enjoy the writing style, honestly. That was what it
Maybe
was.
this will help you. My friend Amy, I don't think she'll care that I say her name. She has shared the same opinion with us on every book. So,
Okay.
Plated Prisoner series, she shared the same sentiment. She just because
And
she
she didn't
reads
feel
so
that way about
fast.
From Bud and Ash.
No, she finished
Okay.
it and immediately messaged me and was like, "Sarah, you loved ACOTAR, you loved Crescent City, you must read." For her, this is the only series that competes with the SJM world.
Okay. There's another girl who I was talking with books, especially at the very beginning of me getting back into reading. She was reading From Blood and Ash when I was getting into ACOTAR and all those things. She was
Okay.
like, when you have time, you need to read this series. It's amazing. So I was like, okay. And she like Fourth Wing, ACOTAR, all of it. She was like, same page as me. So like, I do think it is something we will enjoy. I'm just intimidated by 7
I
books.
know. We just have to rip off the freaking Band-Aid.
But I don't know why, like, Throne of Glass felt like such a no-brainer, 8 books, but it was like to be fair, it did take me a few months to get through that
I
series
know.
just because my life and stuff at the time and whatever. So, but okay, so let us know if you're a From Blood and Ash fan.
Is that next? Do we read it next?
Is there any lulls in the series that you have seen? And also, like, do you recommend that is like up next fall reading, or maybe that's like January reading? I don't know. Like, let's get through the fall. Maybe it's like good winter cold reading. I don't know. Let us know because we still have to like figure out like plan our next year of reading.
Yeah, we have this freaking long list, and every time we finish something, we're like, which one do we choose?
The one we're reading right now wasn't even on the list. I
Nope.
suggested it. I suggested it. Here's the other problem I have with From Blood and Ash. This is a problem. And who writes From Blood and Ash?
Jennifer.
Okay, listen, Jennifer. I need you to get that on Kindle Unlimited. I cannot be buying or renting every book. Like, Kindle Unlimited is where I live. It's the easiest way for me to quickly get books. I don't want to
Yeah.
buy every single book unless I know I'm going to like it. And I don't want to get into a 7-book series having to buy every single one. I don't
No.
know. And so I need you to put it on Kindle Unlimited.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
And then
sorry, I don't know how the book deals work. I don't know if that
I
helps you
know.
make money or not make money. I want your business to succeed, but or tell my library to get more copies because I have been on the waiting list for this thing forever. Okay, 2 things. Hold, this is such a sidetrack, but I haven't texted you about this. 2
Sorry, I
things,
just
Jillian.
realized how ADD we both are when we're on this podcast. And if you can't follow an ADD brain, you probably hate our podcast.
Go on our social media. It's a different vibe there, but
Sorry.
okay, 2 things, and the reading community is probably gonna be like, "Duh, what do you mean?" Jillian, you know that I got into audiobooks this last year, and it really helps
Hmm.
me, like, I do a lot of work where I can be listening to things while I'm working, so it has helped me get through my reading goals. So, I typically relied on Spotify Premium. I get, like, 14 hours. Okay, if you're an audiobooks person, that could be 1 book. So, I'm often very annoyed of, like, I can't get through books because I used up all my reading hours. So somebody recently told me about the app Hoopla,
Oh, I
and
have heard
have you
about
heard of
this.
it? Okay.
Yes.
So you all you need is a library card because you log in with a library number, and then you have access to essentially anything your library has, but immediate. So for me, you can do digital, you can do music, you can do audiobooks, but I have been using it. So you can do digital like Kindle Unlimited kind of thing. I
Hmm.
guess you would have to read on your phone, which I'm not a fan of, but maybe you could do iPad. I don't know.
Well, because like, what's the difference between Hoopla and Libby? Because
That's what
it's
I was just
similar.
gonna say. Okay, so yesterday I'm with a friend who's a reader, and if you've been following along in our podcast, she was the friend who Fourth Wing was not for her. But she's a reader. We're always catching up on books, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, have you heard of this app Hoopla?" And she's like, "Yes, but have you heard of Libby?" Here's my thing. I was like, "Libby, what do you mean?" And she's like, "No, Libby's better than Hoopla. It has more, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Okay, I'm just going to be honest with you. I've seen people talk about Libby online, and I have always assumed that it was just like a cute bookish term to talk about the library. I did not know it was an app." And I have to be honest, I've used it times on our social media talking about the library and saying Libby because I thought I was fake.
Sarah.
So that's my confession.
Sarah. Wait. We have talked about Libby before because I talk about it. I'm like, oh, I have it on hold. I have it on hold from Libby. And you're like, yeah, library.
Literally, I'm like, oh,
I'm
Jillian
so
went to her
dead.
library and put it on hold. That's what my brain told me.
What? No. Okay, wait. So you don't know what the difference is between Libby and Hoopla?
Well, I downloaded it immediately. I haven't scrolled or anything, but now I have both. So
Okay, because they also have like similar things, except for like I just don't know, like the really popular books, they have holds on the Kindle versions, audiobook versions, and stuff like that as well. Although I
okay.
think maybe they have more audiobook availability, but they will still have a lot of like holds that are like months that take you like to get like even on Libby. So it's like I don't know why. But anyway,
We'll
you guys
find
tell
a
us.
way
So
to read Blood and Ash. Yeah.
yeah, I'm not a Libby or Hoopla expert for sure. But if you are listening to this and you want to give us advice about those because we are dummies that thought that Libby meant library,
Thanks for being inclusive with that, Jillian. Thanks for
educate us.
including yourself with me there so I'm not standing alone. That's so kind of you.
No, I just called you an idiot. I said idiots,
like,
but I meant you.
you
I meant
dummy.
you. I just can't believe that we've been buddy reading for this long and I'm just now finding out you didn't know it was a real thing.
Well, I literally found out yesterday. And thank God this friend was like, oh, that's okay, Sarah. She didn't laugh at me. It wouldn't have mattered
Well,
anyways, whatever.
That's why you're friends with me, because I humble you, and that's
right.
it's
That's
important.
right.
It's important in our relationship.
Keep me grounded.
It's like how I say accidentally really sexual stuff and you call me out for it as well.
Oh my God. Most of it's been cut out of our podcast because my husband edits our audio and he'll pause
He's
and be like, Sarah,
"No."
come here, listen to what Jillian's saying. And I'm like, oh my God, she didn't realize it. She didn't know.
We're idiots in different ways. That's how we're friends.
So funny.
Okay. I think we should talk about let's bring up like 2 or 3 more series that we're considering and let people help us decide if these should be like front runners for the other ones. Then we can kind of like start narrowing it down. So another one that we've talked about countlessly, but you're nervous to read this one for some reason.
I think because I just saw a review of somebody being like, this sucked. But why would I listen to them? I love Carissa Broadbent.
You just did. We do this every time. We like question whether or not what we saw. Okay, it is on Kindle Unlimited. So Carissa Broadbent, we already love her writing. We love her other books. We've already talked about Serpent and the Winds of Night. Daughter of No Worlds is on our TBR. We've never read it. I have heard that it is very similar to Throne of Glass in that like the main character is very the FMC is very like FMC in Throne of Glass. And so we love that FMC. She's a badass. And I think that we would love this as well. I have heard it's lower on the romance scale.
Okay.
But like Throne of Glass is, and we love that book. So it's like, to me, that's okay. Like I don't need the romance. And sometimes the romance can be too much depending on the series. Sometimes it's like too much romance. So it's, I think, heavier on the world building, very badass FMC, like kind of situation. So like it's been high on my list of wanting to read anyway. That's an option on our TBR. Do you have anything to say about potentially that option?
I don't think so. I think
it's
I need
only
to
3
block
books.
It's only 3 books and it's completed?
Yes.
I think it is, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we love Carissa Broadbent, and I am somebody who, if I love you as an author, which this is the next book we should talk about, if I love you as an author, then I want to consume everything that you've done. So I feel strongly about wanting to read them. I don't know why we keep pushing them off. Probably because I keep bringing up Blood and Ash.
You do. And then we can't make a decision between the two of them, so then I bring up a different series and we just read that one instead.
We're like, okay, sounds good. Sun Trial, whatever. Yeah. Okay, so the one I was just referencing is Night and the Moth, which I have. So we love Rachel Gillig, which I have some friends who don't love her writing style. That's okay, but we have loved her. We loved One Dark Window, Two Twisted Crowns, duology, Shepherd King duology. And this is the start of a new duology. And I just saw she posted sneaky on Instagram story, like her timeline for her books coming out. And she has like 2 new duologies that she's working on. They'll be released in a similar timeline, so the next couple of years. But this one, I think it just doesn't get enough hype on social media. So it hasn't taken my attention when I'm considering all the other books.
Mhm.
That's not a great reason not to read it, but
Mm-mm.
that's honest.
It's just hard, like, to decide if you wanna do, like, something that's not completed or do we tackle something completed. So we always get, like, back and forth between
You're
completed
right.
or not completed. At least this one's done so we can knock it off our list for forever. Otherwise, we have to start something new and come back to it later, which is always kind of hard as well because we already have, like, 3 or 4 of those on our list of things that we need to read, like Fallen and The Kiss of Dusk?
Dusk. Dusk. I think I wrote it wrong.
Yeah, I looked at your thing and I was like, "I don't think that's the name of this book."
I think I wrote that, like, before she announced it, and it was just Google rumors.
Okay,
Whoops.
Fallen in the Kiss of Dusk, or Brimstone, which is Quicksilver #2, which is on our that comes out in October. So that will be on our fall reading list because we will be making room for that one because we
And
really
we'll
love
be making
Quicksilver.
podcast episodes of it because we have Quicksilver
Yes.
episodes ready.
And then we have Burn of the Everflame that's coming out next for the Spark series. And then we have Metal Slinger #2 and Shield of Shadows #2 that are going to come out eventually. So
Yeah.
we have a lot of like unfinished things that we have read recently that we need to finish eventually. So sometimes it feels easier to tackle something that is already completed so that we don't have to worry about keeping track of like where were we at in this story before we have to come back to it later.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of why we might not have gone for The Night and the Moth is because it feels like starting another new book with that's not completed.
I agree.
But I do want to read it. So if you've read it, let us know your thoughts.
Yeah.
And then one that I've been like eyeing for forever, and I brought this up to Sarah before we started this, is Once Upon a Broken Heart. So if you've read Once Upon a Broken Heart, like let us know
Tell
if you
us.
like it. I feel like I want to read this book description as well, just to see if it sounds interesting or like anything else.
I've not heard anything about it. This will be my first thing.
I have gotten plenty of people that have said, oh, you need to read this. It's a really easy read, whatever. Okay. It's a little bit shorter description than the last one. So, okay. How far would you go for a happily ever after? For as long as she can remember, Evangeline Fox has believed in true love and happy endings until she learns that the love of her life will marry another. Desperate to stop the wedding and to heal her wounded heart, Evangeline strikes a deal with the charismatic but wicked Prince of Hearts. In exchange for his help, he asks for 3 kisses to be given at the time and place of his choosing. But after Evangeline's first promised kiss, she learns that bargaining with an immortal is a dangerous game, and that the Prince of Hearts wants far more from her than she pledged. He has plans for Evangeline, plans that will either end in the greatest happily ever after or the most exquisite tragedy.
Ooh.
That sounds fun.
Sounds fun, and it's completed, so that's like 3 more points in my book.
I've heard it's like an easy read. I don't know. Let me see how many book details. How many pages this book is. 408 is the first one. So it's like relatively
Yeah.
a normal, easy fantasy read size. It's not like 700 pages. So something to think
Mm.
about. If you've read Once Upon a Broken Heart in that series, let us know. It's by Stephanie Garber. And we also have the Caravel series on our TBR as well, who she writes that series as well. So if you have thoughts about Stephanie Garber's writing and encouragement or dissuasion, let us know because I'd love to hear either way.
I think we should do like a quick read through this because we can't talk about all these. We'll be here for hours.
No, we're done
And
pretty much.
then
Yeah.
let me see what we missed. So Blood and Ash, Daughter of No Worlds, Zodiac Academy. I don't know when we're going to tackle that.
Yeah. That feels like a fun time read.
Yeah, that's what I hear. Like, not too deep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Zodiac Academy, Powerless, Cruel Prince, Divine Rivals, Caraval. Is that how you say it? Once Upon a Broken Heart, Manacled. Okay, this one just got released, In the Veins of the Drowning.
Oh,
It's kind
yeah.
of, and it's got great reviews, but it's kind of similar to how we feel about The Night and the Moth. Its next book will be out next year. So do we wait? I know it's going to be a great time. Okay, this one is Red Rising.
Oh, yes. Okay,
We
that would
have
be our first non-female author that we would have read together
Yeah,
if we read it. And I think we have to read it eventually. Like,
we
I
have
think
to.
I've heard such amazing things about that entire series, and I think it rips your heart out too at some point. Like, I really think it's amazing. So, yes, if you've been a proponent of Red Rising, let us know and where we should fit that into our series or our reading strategy, because I do
Yeah.
think we need to read that book, but I don't feel like an immediate, like, we have to read that immediately. You know what I mean?
Me neither, but I can't wait till we read it.
I'm
But that's
excited for it.
everything written down on our TBR. Obviously, we'll see a TikTok and immediately we're like, we should read this. But those are the things written down and have kind of been written down for months and months. So we're finishing right now The Artifacts of Uranus by Nisha. What do we do next? What do we do next?
Fallen in the Kiss of Dusk.
Probably should. Which we have an episode on, what's the other one called? Songbird.
Songbird in the Heart of Stone.
Goodness. We have an episode on that. So we need
That's true.
a completed episode, on that.
We need to finish that duology. We just need to finish it. I think it's a good fall vampire read. I think it'll be fun. It needs to get off our plate anyway. It just got released. I think it'll be good to read. And then I think
and then Brimstone will be shortly after. We'll have some time in between, but we will be reading Brimstone on release day. So excited.
How many pages is Manacled? Let's see.
Look it up.
It's very long.
How long is it? Oh no.
I think it'd be the longest book we've ever read. 925 pages.
No way. Crescent City's longer.
Hardcover is 925 for Manacled. You think Crescent City's longer? Yep. Hardcover, 803 pages for the first Crescent City book.
And the longest one is 850. Okay, what about Kingdom of Ash?
No, it's not. This is longer. 925 is way longer. Let's see. Kingdom of Ash is
1,000-ish. Hardcover.
Goodreads hardcover says 984. So okay, it's about as long as Kingdom of Ash.
So Manacled is Kingdom of Ash. Oof. Okay.
But it's one off. So it's not a series. It's one and done.
Yeah.
But that is long. But maybe it's really good. I don't know. Tell us. Does it feel long when you're reading it?
Here's what I feel good about doing, and we can wrap. I feel good about finishing this series. We have 2 more books in it. Doing Fallen in the Kiss of Dusk, starting Blood and Ash, and taking a detour for Brimstone when it comes out, and then finishing Blood and Ash, because I think that'll take us into the new year.
We need to start collecting books.
For the new year? Or you mean we need to start collecting Blood and Ash? Yeah. Start asking friends and family. Yeah, I've already reserved them at my library, but at my Libby.
I seriously can't get over that. I can't. I know I have sent you texts about Libby before, so that is so crazy because you were like, yeah, for sure. I'm dead.
Okay, I have to tell you this story and then I'm out of here. So on some episode, who knows where, I was telling you that I have a friend that I recommended her first entry to Romantasy be Throne of Glass. Jillian's opinion was like, why would you start there? And so, yeah, she continued Throne of Glass. First book, she was like, not my vibe. And then I saw her a couple days later and she's like, oh my God, I loved book 2. I couldn't put it down. I read it in a day. And then she started book 3. So did we determine that book 3 was, what was her book 3?
I don't know. I can't remember. I'd asked you if you recommend. I think we both recommended that she read Assassin's Blade 3rd, but did she or did she not? I don't know.
I don't know. I forgot to ask that question. But she started with Throne of Glass. And then I was like, wow, I haven't talked to her in a while. She hasn't said anything to me about books. And so I texted her, hey, are you still reading Throne of Glass? How's it going? And she said, I'm so sorry. No, I have not continued. Book 3 was too much world building. Any recommendations of what else I should read? And I was like,
okay, book 3 being too much world building makes me think that she read Heir of Fire 3rd.
You think so? I was thinking Assassin's Blade because it took her out of the world that she was in, and so it's, like, rebuilding the
So does Air
scenes.
of Fire. She's in a
I
whole
know,
different place in
that's
Air of
why it's
Fire.
hard to know.
Yeah, I don't know, but to me, like,
Regardless,
Assassin's Blade is, like, relatively easy to read because it's, like, a collection of short stories, so you're kind of, like, moving on quickly from the next thing, you know what I
but I
mean?
do remember being early in my romantasy, being just so screwed up anytime the author changed the scenery and the
Mm.
location, being like, "I don't know what's happening."
I don't think you picked well for your first recommendation
I have just
into
failed her
romanticism.
completely, so and then she asked anything with less world building, and I did this on purpose, but I said, Rachel Gillig, One Dark Window, Two Twisted Crowns, which is
Totally.
accurate.
Yes.
Great, great easy reads. But then I said ACOTAR, which no, that's not less world
I was
building.
like,
I'm just
well, okay. In some ways, it is because it really all exists in Prythian, where it's less like it is less jumpy around than it is with Throne of
yeah,
Glass.
you don't jump around, but you gotta learn the monsters, you have to learn the magic. I don't know.
Yeah,
I just
especially like
want her to
Silver
be
Flames feels like a lot of world building. You know what I mean? Like you really get into
yeah,
like the future of it or whatever, and you're out of the first like romance part.
there's a
So it's
lot of
like,
lore.
hmm
And my third thing I said was Crowns of Nyaxia by Carissa Broadbent. Listen, I think if she reads any of those, the only thing she'll enjoy is One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns. I don't think she's gonna enjoy ACOTAR or Serpents in the Wings of Night, so I'm just kind of giving up slowly. I need to recommend to her, like, Kristen Hanna or something.
probably
We'll
we
see.
need to read more Kristen Hanna. I loved the Kristen Hanna book we read. I'm like, wait, that should we add that to our TBR? It's not really interesting, but
We should.
I
I
want to read some of those.
I thrifted The Woman, I know you saw that, by
Hmm
her, so that's sitting in my house. But
Yeah.
that's our TBR. What should we read, guys? What should we do? Fall is here. We wanna stay in romantasy. We want mood reads, though. So,
Help us.
yeah.
But for now, those are my thoughts.
Those are my thoughts. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. We also want to be your long distance book bestie. You can find this podcast on all your favorite listening platforms. You can watch us on YouTube at Those Are My Thoughts Podcast. Follow us on Instagram, My Thoughts Pod, on TikTok, mythoughts.pod.
We'd love to hear your thoughts and book recommendations. Email us at thosearemythoughtspod@gmail.com. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. We love you. See you next time. Bye.